Okay, folks, so we're going to get started. So there's a couple announcements for today. The first is that I just released Lab 7. That's for today, Thursday. The material on Lab 7 further expands upon some of your understanding on the creation of programs fund, use of tools like GCC, PR, etc. It won't be heavily tested on the exam. I don't think there's any significant dependence of the two. Okay. So that's released today, released this morning, and it's due Friday at midnight. Okay. That'll give you a little bit of time after the exam to work on it. Note that there is a file to download. It's a tar file. It's an archive created using the tar utility under Linux. Actually, I think it was created on a Mac OS system, and you should be sure to download that for use on TuxWorld as well. Okay, so that's announcement 1. Announcement 2 is that is just a reminder that we're having the lecture or the exam in class on Thursday. So 2 days from now, you'll be starting up the exam. That exam is going to be filled out on OpScan sheets. We decided after weighing the pros and cons that given the class size, we're going to go with multiple choice questions. And what that does mean is that it's important for you to bring a HB pencil. The HB pencils are the ones for filling out those little ovals. Be sure to bring one to the exam. You will be comfortable. Along the same lines, on the exam, you'll also need to fill out the information up at the top of your OpScan sheet. Otherwise, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to track down whose sheet it is. And so there'll be a place there to fill out your NSID, there'll be a place there to fill out your student number, I think your name, class, all that sort of information. Be sure to do that very first thing when it's given out. Now, given the nature of OpScan sheets, the fact that they're filled out with a pencil, for example, you will be turning them in, and I'll be retaining them. I won't be able to give them back to you. So I therefore suggest that on the exam instruction sheet, which will comprise about 7 pages, that you use that sheet to kind of circle answers that you've indicated so you know what you answered. And when the answer key comes out, as it will, you'll be able to compare your answers to the answer key. Okay? So if you want to refer back to your answers, the best option is to indicate your answers not only on the OpScan sheet, but also on the examination instructions, questions that are presented. So, and you can retain those. You can keep those, take them home, and you can compare them against the answer key when it comes out. Okay? So that's this Thursday, this room, and it's 80 minutes, an 80-minute exam. In order to help prepare you for the exam, we will be holding a video review session, and I was a bit late with getting the times out for that. I did ask for feedback, and if you haven't filled it out yet, see if you can do so ASAP after this class, after this particular session, because I'm going to need to reserve a room for it. The current trending suggests that it will be tomorrow evening. Okay. I give a bunch of times this evening and a bunch of times tomorrow evening, which, given the vagaries of the schedules of people in the class and myself, are probably the only options. I don't like to have things outside of class time, but if we have it inside the normal time for classes, it's almost inevitable to lead to conflict. There's several times suggested. None of them are perfect. All of them lose people. So we'll do the least bad option. But the sooner you can fill it out, and I particularly ask you, I asked to do it before 1, but if you can't fill it before 1, do it before 2. Some of you will be in the labs then, so a good chunk you should be able to do it even on lab machines. Please fill it out so that we can go ahead with reserving the room and I can announce where it will be. Okay? I do expect it to be about an hour and a half long. I have been known to have been snookered into saying longer. It will highlight major things of importance. It will go over some fine points that I don't think maybe I've communicated enough or where there might be retention problems. And it will be open season on your part to ask any questions. Questions about any of the assignment material and a chance to ask, to clarify some issues. So this evening or tomorrow night, we'll be holding that session. It will be video, so I'll be creating, as I want, a screencast, and I'll be posting it to YouTube as soon as I can. Okay. So if you can't be there in person, you should be at least be able to watch the back and forth on YouTube. Okay. So that's the exam in preparation for the exam on Thursday. The exam on Thursday does not depend heavily on any of the material covered today. In fact, it goes kind of light on the material covered last time, partly because I've been preparing questions for a while and I wasn't sure how far we would go. I could talk more about emphases in the review session, but bear in mind that the material today is not going to be turned around and heavily dependent upon on Thursday. There are a few threads that I'm emphasizing today, which I've emphasized before, which may be tested on Thursday, but nothing here, okay? Nothing and really fine points that I haven't touched on before from today. Okay, so those are 2 announcements just to begin. So let me